The arrival shuttle docks with the station and I disembark, heading for virology. Getting to the lab, I gather my things and prepare for the shift. I strap the monkeys to the beds, not planning on making much use of them, but I don't need the distraction of their constant fidgeting. I decide to at least use them to get the antibodies for the base viruses. Not that I'm going to accidentally leak the base viruses. Not leaking your work is Virology 101. Getting a possible cure for the rhinovirus means orange juice. I get to the bar, not seeing anyone around to help, certainly nobody around to stop me. I jump the bar and grab a carton. The bar monkey watches me carefully as I fight the urge to strap him down and run tests on him. Shuffling back to virology like an orange juice thief in the night, I make good on infecting the test subject. Confirming the monkey's infected, I pour the juice into a beaker. I'm too good to him. Not only do they get a nice comfy bed, but they get some delicious orange juice. After verifying the monkeys overcome the infection, I gather the antibodies, produce a cure, and store it in the smart storage. Then I notice the flu is also possibly cured by orange juice. I figure I might as well knock out a cure for that as well. Lucky monkey, 2 beakers of orange juice and gets to be a part of history. I repeat the process, infecting the bastard, giving him some orange juice, grab the antibodies, and store the cure in the smart fridge. The CMO stops by to see how I'm doing. I tell them it's going. They clap excitedly, saying, "Good stuff." As I'm mustering the strength to feign the same energy, they busily hurry back to the surgery bays. Good. Having put the monkey through its paces, I decide to retire it and grab another. I don't want it to be too historic. I load the samples into the fridge when I hear someone working on the outer door of the containment airlock. I stand in the doorway of the inner entrance, seeing the outer door spring open, producing an odd-looking crew member. Before I can stammer anything, they produce an electrified baton and stun me. As the assailant beats me down, I manage to scream help into my headset. My attacker drags me to the medical maintenance shaft. They tap me with a flashlight, drop the flashlight, tap me with another flashlight, and handcuff me. As they are slipping the cuffs over my hands, I manage to report our location over my radio. Strangely, the abductor seems confused by what I believe is an obvious and reasonable call for help, asking, "What?" They tap me with another flashlight repeatedly before dropping it and running off in the opposite direction, disappearing into the darkness of the maintenance tunnels. I scramble to the maintenance door, tucking myself into the corner where I try to remove the cuffs, hoping to get them off before my attacker's clearly addled mind brings them back to finish their assault. Nearly freeing one of my hands from the cuffs, I hear a nearby door. I freeze as their flashlight cuts through the darkness. I struggle to make out their identity. To my relief, I realize it's a security guard. I lose focus on breaking my restraints as he escorts me deeper into the maintenance tunnels. He pulls me along, stopping to report into his headset. Got him. Handcuffed. Near the exit of the tunnels, my would-be rescuer suddenly detours to a small room. For a moment I suspect perhaps he's an imposter that has this small, out-of-the-way kill room where he intends to finish the murder the first assassin started. Instead, he takes a quick look around before leading me to a hallway towards the security department, much to my relief. He guides me into the interrogation room, well within the fortress of security. He removes my cuffs, placing them on the table. Another security member arrives, and I explain what happened, giving the name of my attacker. The guard asks the motive behind the attack. Considering I hardly had any interaction with anyone this shift, I suspect simple wanton murder. I imagine that if I wasn't wearing my helmet, my attacker would have removed my headset and been free to perform all manner of wicked experiments with no fear of being discovered. Not that I deserve that, it's what the monkeys are on board for, after all. Everything I do to the monkeys is in the name of science and is perfectly legal. The guard takes my statement and sends me off, giving no indication of increasing security patrols or assignment of personal bodyguards. For now, I think it's just me and my subjects. I get back to the lab. While nothing besides the unscrewed door panel seems to be out of place, I have a sense of unease. I decide to get somewhere less solitary. I make my way to the kitchen. Saddling up to the counter, I grab the berry pancakes from the buffet and chow down. It's only been a few minutes since the attack, but I feel the danger is gone. Getting back to the lab, I get a message on my PDA from security asking me to come to their office as they have a suspect and want a positive ID. They let me into the interrogation when I notice the walls and floors now have deep black scorch marks. I explain I don't see the assailant. The guard tells me the physician made a mistake and choked them out. Considering the difference between giving medicine and choking a bitch, that seems like failing at Medicine 101. They bring in the girl and I confirm it looks like her. She deflects, mentioning how she got PDA bombed. The warden asks me to explain what happened. I give a synopsis and then explain I don't feel safe in the same room. The warden confirms my kidnapper was tracked to the medical maintenance and asks her to explain. She asks if everyone in the room is in on the conspiracy against them, claiming she's never been near the virology department this shift and hasn't seen me before. She invites them to check the virology door for her prints and notes that she came willingly and was PDA bombed right after security called me in to talk. The assailant questions why they would run off if they had me cuffed, trying to poke holes in my story. Seems to me they're easily slipping into a killer's mind and asking the right questions that a first-time killer would ask. I reason they ran off because they knew I got the word out and they wouldn't have time to do their dark deeds before the law closed in. The warden asks me for clarification if they used an actual stun baton. I think back. Then the assailant asks why don't they just send someone to scan the door, doubling down on their assertion that their prints won't be found. Not unreasonable considering how popular gloves are this season. She suggests that maybe I hacked my own door and was stammering over the radio because of that. It's plausible from security's perspective, except the officer points out that the zip ties suggest otherwise. You can't restrain yourself with zip ties. Science fact. The detective arrives. Scanning the restraints, he finds that someone with budget-insulated gloves held them. My gloves are nitrile. I recommend the detective scan the hack door. Not that I'm an expert on logic or anything, but also mention the flashlights in the medical maintenance. Security agrees, sending the detective off. Thinking back, I remember I was definitely attacked with a contractor's baton. The assailant pleads that she works in cargo and is being framed. Cargo? Why don't you just admit you murdered the captain? That's criminal department number 1. I'm waiting for the cops to bring up some damning evidence when instead a hitman breaks into the interrogation room and fires at the assailant, catching the officer with some of the stray shots. The hitman empties the clip and slips back the way they came. A droid comes in and delivers aid to my kidnapper while a medic tends to the guard just outside. It's clear the hitman's target is my kidnapper, who screams out in pain before coughing up blood. I remain in the chair, frozen with fear, watching the chaos play out. The security officer and my now bullet-riddled kidnapper retreat towards the door. More help arrives and tends to the 2 injured. The detective returns and notes there was nothing but insulated gloves on the door, presumably the same ones detected on the zip tie restraints that were used on me. My kidnapper reiterates she was PDA bombed, and that this is a clear attempt on her life. The guard lets me out since my part of their puzzle is done, and it's clear they have a lot to deal with. I get back to virology, close the outer door behind me. I close the interior door too, feeling safer behind both doors. I open the metal blind so I can at least get a partial view of anyone heading my way. I realize the monkeys are now cross-contaminated, as they're all sneezing with who knows what viruses. I work to heal them up so as not to fail the first rule of Virology 101, not letting diseases escape. I get the antibodies and create a vaccine, placing it in the storage just in case. I hear the familiar sound of the door panel being unscrewed. I wait a moment and peer out to see that someone just closed the panel, presumably an engineer. I slink back inside and close the inner door again, returning to my work. I tend to the still-living monkey as the station announces the crew transfer shuttle has been called. Having been out of the lab for so long, the diseases have progressed, so in order to abate the effects, I must cure them to stop them from dying. I get the monkey some dog pockets from the kitchenette and bring it to its new quarters, away from its now dead compatriots. I grab one last sample and create a vaccine from it, just as the crew transfer shuttle docks. One last scan confirms it's an otherwise healthy monkey. I make my way to the shuttle, getting to my seat.
Clown is killed.
2 late arrivals get on just as the shuttle launches. The AI announces the clown is kill on sight, to which a group in the command cabin make quick work of him. That's just Command 101. The group continue hacking at the dead clown. A lot of pent-up rage on the command staff today. A bunch of onlookers watch through the windows as the group manages to decapitate the clown. The shuttle docks, the end of a long, interesting shift.